Bienvenidos. Espero que todos están pasando un día maravilloso. And that means welcome, and I hope you are having a wonderful day. As you could tell, I struggled a little bit with the word maravilloso. I think I still am struggling with it. Anyway, welcome to Ticket to Life. This is Henrie, and I'm your host, and I hope everyone is doing well. And it is a very, very important month. Every month of the year is important, but this is a very important month to me because of who I am and where I come from. It is, and I think it's kind of weird because every month, they usually celebrate something, everybody gets their own month, but it's a National Hispanic Month, Latino Heritage Month. Now, the whole thing on that is, I think it's weird because it starts in the middle of the month. It's begins September 15th. Now, everyone else starts at the 1st. I guess we dare to be different in my culture for the U.S. to celebrate. Anyway, it is September 15th through October 15th, and I'm a few days late only because I had made this podcast a little late. But anyway, so it is National Hispanic and Latino Heritage. This month belongs to my people. And we celebrate histories and cultural, the culture, geez, I cannot talk today. I'm so sorry. Cultural and contributions of the Hispanic and Latino Americans past and present. Now, some people think, oh, they're celebrating for Mexico. Well, it's not just for Mexico, just to let everyone know. It is for the several Latin American countries, including Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Mexico, Chile, and Belize. So it's not just Mexico. Now, when I say my people, they are my people. My great-grandparents and grandparents were from Mexico. So back in the day, I was considered Mexican-American. Now, a lot of people don't use that anymore, but I still do because I want to let people know that I am Mexican and that I am an American. I was born here. My parents were born here, but people get a little weird with stuff like that for some reason. Don't ask me why, but they do. When we went to Mexico this past summer, I mentioned to one of the drivers that I was Mexican-American, and he says, no, you're not. And I think I mentioned it in another podcast. I said, yeah, I am. And he goes, no, because you weren't born in Mexico. So he's saying I cannot be called Mexican. And I said, well, no, I'm Mexican. I was just born in America. And I said, but my grandparents and my parents, although my parents were born here in America, but my grandparents and great-grandparents were born in Mexico. So their blood is my blood. So that makes me Mexican. And he was like, oh. And that was the end of that conversation. And we started talking about something else. But anyway, I am Henrietta. And everyone knows my last name was Valencia. But now I have a new name. I'm always going to be Valencia. But anyway, so it's important to just recognize each month. I just think that it is odd that we start ours on Mexican Independence Day, and Cinco de Mayo is totally different from this. This is the big one. But anyway, so it's important for us to remember this month. And again, like my uncle Henry, who I'm named after, he was a Mexican American, and he was a war hero, and he died in World War II. So that's who I'm named after. If you haven't heard This Is Who I Am, the very first podcast, I think I need to go back and redo that first podcast and resubmit it. And I think I can do that only because, when you start something like this, everyone gets excited for you. And they're like, oh, I want to be on your podcast, and I want to, I'll talk about this and I'll talk about that. And I'm like, great. So I mentioned in that very first podcast, oh, we're going to talk about dyslexia. We're going to talk about hygiene. We're going to have all these people. And I've only had 2 people actually come through, but but that's okay. We're all busy, and I get it. And luckily, you are wonderful listeners and you still are listening to me and downloading this. I have a little bit of a sad thing. Last week, as you know, I'll give you our Texas weather report. It's getting a lot better. But anyway, last week I was in first place for fantasy football. And, that's just how life is. If you think about it, ups and downs. That's just life. And this week I am next to last place. But that's okay because it is part of the fun of the game. It is just fun. But this brings me to a kind of a difficult podcast because it is just so sad to know that people take certain things so serious. Not such as fantasy football, but I hope this would not lead to anything like this. But this is also National Suicide Prevention Awareness. Now, I should know this because I have another podcast, and it's Depression and You Are Not Alone. And that's episode 22 if you want to hear that. It was last year in June 29th. And I talk about depression. Now, I need to let everyone know, I need to put the disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. I am just Henrie. These are all just my opinions. These are my thoughts. I do a little bit of research on certain things. And the crazy thing, going back to Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, the only reason I knew that was because certain players on the NFL were wearing the colors of teal or purple, and that is for National Suicide Month. And I thought, they make such a big thing about celebrating other people and their lives, and this is so important. I wish they would make a bigger thing. No, you can't have a fun, frolic commercial about suicide because that's not what it is. But millions of people struggle with thoughts of suicide. The colors for, in case you do watch football, are teal and purple. So if you're watching any of the games this weekend or Thursday night football or Monday night football, that's why those shoes are that color. This is so important that everyone know that you are not alone if you are suffering from depressions or suicidal thoughts. There is an easy number, and I will put it in the description of the podcast. Easy number. And even if you are not the one who is suffering from the suicidal thoughts, you can pass this number along to someone you may know. And it is 988. That's it. You pick up your little phone and you dial 988 because you need someone to talk to. They are there 24/7. Someone is there to talk to you. Now, let's say you don't want to talk to someone. You can also text. And the text is 741-741. Now, that's anywhere in the U.S. at any time. You will speak to a professional, a mental health professional, someone, and a crisis counselor, someone who has been trained to help you. And a lot of people lead two lives. And you hear about this. Okay, let me use Robin Williams for one. Loved Robin Williams. Hilarious. Oh, is this guy just happy as can be? And then you find out he committed suicide because he suffered from depression. And that's what I mean. Some people can hide their depression very well. And it really bugs me that the pharmaceutical companies make so many meds, and then they are rattling all the side effects, and you always hear may have suicidal thoughts. Well, I'm sorry. Why are you making something? I mean, is it going to help them? I don't know. I don't know enough about medicine, but I think it's just sad. I mean, you hear this. I'm like, well, hell no, I'm not taking that. I'm depressed enough. Why would I take something? Because I'm sure there is either a natural way or another type of medicine that you could take. So if you are suffering from, I don't know, some disease that can help you, and you hear it has suicidal thoughts, talk it over with your doctor. Or if you feel like you are depressed, call your doctor, get an appointment, talk to someone. And if you don't have a doctor, call one of these numbers, or 988, or text 74174. I'm sure they can guide you to find someone that can help you. And again, I think it's just such a sad thing that so many people can hide that from someone they love so much. Someone who is in the limelight, like Robin Williams. When you hear of a celebrity committing suicide, but they had it all. They had the fame, they had the fortune, they had everything. But guess what, folks? That's not what makes people happy. It might make you happy for a little bit. But that's not what happiness is. Happiness, you can't buy. You cannot buy it. It may make you happy for a little bit, but life is always throwing a wrench in someone's life. You may not hear about it, but it is. And I found this so interesting when I did do a little bit of my research. The highest place in the U.S. for suicide is Casper, Wyoming. Have you ever been to Wyoming? It is absolutely gorgeous. It is such a beautiful, beautiful place. Now, I've been to Jackson Hole, and it was like many, many years ago. Absolutely gorgeous. Now, see, I just love being outside. I love nature, and I guess that's me. But if you are in a situation in your life that you need help, you need to get away from a job, from people who make you feel not worthy, then you need to find help. And it's okay. Guess what? It is okay to find help. Now, you hear some parents putting their kids on drugs just because, I think they need this. They're on the antidepressants. Do they need them? I mean, I'm sure, yes, definitely kids get depressed. I mean, think of all the teen suicides we have now. But a lot of it can be from bullying, sexual identity, loss of a loved one, or a pet. And you think that's crazy, but it's not. So, I don't know. Please, if you think you know someone suffering from depression, please reach out to them. Of course, they may never admit it. They may go, no, I'm just having a bad day. But if you see certain signs of someone just staying away, just let people know. Guess what? You are not going to judge them. I just did a podcast last week on judging, and you don't have a right. We do not have a right to judge anyone who is suffering from this. We don't know what people go through in their lives. People may go to a job that they absolutely hate, but they go because they need to make a living. But that can cause depression too. People don't know that. Now, I'm not saying just quit your job. No, but you need to start changing your life. I'm not even saying that would help. But seek help because it's out there. Why not take advantage of that? Take advantage of these wonderful people who want to help you. And like I said, they are not going to be judging you or judgmental. And if they are, shame on them, but I don't believe that's how they're trained. The other thing is postnatal depression. That is something that I had no idea was after I had my son. Because back in the 80s, you just didn't hear about this stuff. I remember I read everything. I had this huge book about becoming a mom. And it was like a paragraph. Some moms may feel blue and sad, very sad. But basically it was saying, you'll get over it. No, it exists. And if you know of anyone who's about to have a baby or they just had a baby and they seem a little off, step in. Tell them. You are there to help them with their baby, go to the doctor. The doctors can help you. I don't understand. I hate the fact that many people won't reach out because they're embarrassed. Do not be embarrassed. If you do suffer from any of these things, you need to go get some help. And again, don't want to go? Call 988. I just want everyone to know that we just remember the person that is right next to you in a car or, you know, at the movies, at the grocery store. Some people may come across rude, but you don't know what they're going through. And instead of getting mad, take a deep breath and walk away from the situation. Because we don't know what people are going through nobody knows what you're going through. You're listening to me right now. I have no idea. I have no idea what you're going through. I hope that you find your happiness. I hope everyone does. I know I live in La La Land, but it's non-existent. But if you can help yourself so that you can be a happier person, then you need to just do it. You're so worth it. Everyone is so worth taking good care of themselves. And if you have a family, do it for them. Don't be shy. Just do it. So, I'm sorry, kind of went off on a little tangent there. But anyway, this is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and half of the month is National Hispanic Month. Don't forget us. We're at the half mark of this month, and then half of next month. Still, I'm sure there's a logical. I probably should have looked that up, but there's a logical explanation for that. But anyway, I hope that you have a wonderful remainder of your day or evening wherever you are, and please don't hesitate to call 988 or text 741-741. I will put those in the directions. And until next week, thank you for listening. And go find your blessings.